Welcome to Review Journal Sports Betting Spotlight NFL Week 11. We're at the Orleans Sportsbook with handicapper Kelly Stewart at Kelly in Vegas and Boyd Gaming Sportsbook Director Bob Scucci. Went 3-0 in the last NFL Sports Betting Spotlight. We're going to give you 3 picks each, including our best bet. And we'll lead it off, ladies first. Kelly, who are your first 2 plays in the NFL?
You know what? I'm going to stick with what's working, and I'm going to play the Vikings yet again this week. Vikings -2. I think this is a trap game for Rams backers. They absolutely destroyed a Deshaun Watson-less Houston team, and that is what everybody remembers. Vikings, on the other hand, came off the bye and got it done. Not to mention, this is what people are going to see when they walk up to the booth. The #1 offense in the NFL is getting points. I can't wait to bet on them. As you guys know, I also love Coach Zimmer. This is going to be their only home game in a 5-week span. I think they got to get the W here. They've covered 12 of their last 15 in the Twin Cities. And I also like the Bucs here. I missed the good number. I wanted the 2.5. I got the 1. But the Bucs showed last week they can stop the bleeding. They defeated the Jets as a home dog. Ryan Fitzpatrick is capable of getting things done. Mike Evans is going to be back this week for Tampa Bay. And then you have this Dolphins team who just got throttled on Monday night by the Panthers. I'm going to take the points and fade the Dolphins on the short week.
All right, Bob, who are your first 2 plays?
Well, the first one's the Lions -3 over the Bears. Listen, the Bears have come up with a couple of big wins this year against the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Carolina Panthers, and they did that mostly with their defense, but they're still anemic on offense. They're ranked almost last in the league in a lot of the offensive categories, including points per game and passing yards per game. So if they can't pass the ball, I don't know how they're going to score against this Detroit defense. And Detroit's defense has been playing better and better each week. So they're kind of on a roll, and they're only laying 3 points on the road. I'm not sold on this Bears team, so I think I would lay the 3 points with the Lions. The second pick is the New York Giants +11 against Kansas City. I know the Giants are without the receivers. I know the Giants are terrible. They only have the 1 win, and they lost last week against one of the worst teams in the NFL, the 49ers. But this is a bet mainly against the big line adjustment on Kansas City. You know, each week the Giants don't cover a game. The odds makers adjust the line and their power rankings more and more. And at some point, you get to just an over adjustment. And I think that's where we are with 11 points that Kansas City has to lay on the road. We're just seeing that over adjustment. Plus the Giants have always, particularly Eli Manning, has always performed pretty well as a double-digit underdog.
Well, the books need the Giants, so it's probably a good spot to be on. And Kelly, I know you don't like it when you're on the same side as me, but I do like being on the same side as you. Consensus play. I hope it's a good one because I'm going with the Vikings as well, laying the 2.5 at home over the Rams. They're 21-6 in their last 27 at home, 37-15 against the spread run overall. Case Keenum finally stepped up last week with 4 touchdown passes against a decent skin secondary, and the offense is finally catching up with the defense in Minnesota. And I'm gonna, this is gonna be the biggest test yet for the Rams, and we'll see if they're really for real. But I'll take the short price and take the Vikings. And if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. So I'm going against the Browns again. The Jaguars laying 7.5. Just when I thought I was out against the Browns, they pulled me back in when they blew it against the Lions, where at the end of the first half, they drove down to the 2-yard line and went for a quarterback sneak with no timeouts left, ran the clock out, and then they threw an interception in the end zone at the end of the game. They couldn't get the backdoor cover. They just have a horrible record, 5-20-1 slide against the spread, 1-24 overall. I'm going with the Jags. They still have that tough defense, and I don't see how the Browns are even going to score against them. Let's move on to our best bet. Kelly, what's your best bet?
Thanks for reminding me how bad that Browns +12 really hurt.
I know you guys are calling me the square, but it worked out.
Oh, you were the square. I was watching it at the airport going, I know.
I'd rather be called the square than a loser.
Okay, fair enough. All right, speaking of losers, I am betting, my best bet is Chargers -4. Listen, I know I make fun of the Chargers a lot and Phyllis Rivers, but this is more of a play against the Bills. It's been a bad couple weeks for the Bills, you guys. They were on top of the AFC East, then bam, ugly loss to the Jets, ugly loss to the Saints, and they've now only covered 1 of their last 5. Due to Buffalo's recent woes, I am going to lay the points with LA in the soccer stadium. Go Chargers.
Bob, who's your best bet?
Best bet is the Cowboys +3.5 against the Eagles. I know a lot of the the statistics point in the Eagles' direction. They're obviously the highest ranked team in the NFL, but here's a great spot for the Cowboys, even with all the injuries. Last week, you can't take too much into account their loss against the Falcons last week. They lost Tyron Smith in the middle of the game. They lost Sean Lee, and they may be without them again this week, but at least they have the week to prepare and devise a game plan to combat the Eagles this week. And then, like I mentioned earlier with the Chiefs, you have an Eagles team that's coming off of a bye week. And a lot of times when a team is getting all their momentum and they get a bye week, it works in reverse to where it may take a little while in the first quarter for them to get back in gear. It's kind of like a three-point shooter in basketball that gets a little time off and he loses the hot hand. So I'm going with the Cowboys plus 3.5 here.
All right, I'm going to go with the Patriots over the Raiders in Mexico City by 6.5. They're coming off one of their arguably the best win of the year at Denver. They played it smart by staying in Colorado at the Air Force Academy, staying in the altitude because Mexico City is actually higher in altitude than Denver. And they're back in Super Bowl form. The defense has only allowed 13 points in the last 5 games. Oakland has one of the worst pass defenses in the league. They don't even have an interception. 0 interceptions this year. Brady's only thrown 2. They probably have a better chance of getting an INT. They have a better chance of getting some good Italian food in Mexico City than intercepting Brady and beating the Patriots, who are 9-2 against the spread in their last 11 as road favorites. That's our spotlight on the NFL.